Think of how many dimes you've spent without a second thought. But what if one of them was a rare Roosevelt dime worth thousands? Collectors hunt for silver dimes and unique errors every day, turning pocket change into big profits. That 10-cent coin could change everything. Here's how to spot the valuable ones. The 1984 one-dime coin is one of those fascinating pieces of U.S. currency that most people overlook completely. Yet for collectors and enthusiasts, it carries a story that goes far beyond its small silver-colored surface. At face value, it's just 10 cents. A Roosevelt dime that millions of Americans carried in their pockets, dropped into vending machines, or stacked in change jars during the mid-1980s. But the truth is that certain examples of this coin are worth far more than a dime, reaching extraordinary values at auction. Some rare varieties and errors from this year have commanded staggering prices ranging from $50,000 to $130,000. And this is what makes the 1984 dime an object of both curiosity and desire in the world of coin collecting. To understand its appeal, we first need to consider the context of the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of American currency since 1946, introduced to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his death. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime features Roosevelt's left-facing portrait on the obverse, along with the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, and the date of issue, in this case 1984. The reverse carries the torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. It's a design that most Americans are intimately familiar with, and by 1984, the coin was being produced in massive quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But despite the scale of production, or perhaps because of it, mistakes occasionally occurred. These minting errors are where the story of the 1984 dime becomes so compelling. For most coins, even minor errors can increase value. But for certain 1984 dimes, the errors were dramatic enough to turn them into highly sought-after treasures. One of the most notable is the double die error, where elements of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. On a 1984 dime, doubling on the inscriptions or on Roosevelt's profile can make the coin instantly recognizable to a trained eye and push its value far beyond its modest face value. In pristine condition, with sharp doubling and no circulation wear, these coins can achieve values well into 5 figures. Another type of error that collectors prize is the off-center strike. When a dime is struck off-center, part of the design is missing or shifted to one side, making the coin look unusual and unique. In many cases, off-center strikes are only slightly noticeable, but the most valuable are those that are significantly misaligned while still showing a clear date. A 1984 dime with a dramatic off-center strike that leaves the date intact is a perfect storm for collectors. Rare, visually striking, and historically significant. These can easily fall into that $50,000 to $130,000 range at auction when the condition is right. Then there are the wrong planchet errors. A wrong planchet error happens when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. For example, a dime might be struck on a cent planchet, making it smaller and lighter than normal. Alternatively, it might be struck on a foreign coin planchet, which did happen occasionally during this era. These coins are instantly unusual and highly collectible, and the date 1984 makes them even more desirable because they stand out as modern rarities. One of these wrong planchet dimes sold at auction for a sum that left collectors stunned, proving that even a 10-cent coin can rival the price of a luxury car when the right circumstances align. What keeps collectors coming back to the 1984 dime is not just the errors themselves, but the idea that many of these treasures may still be out there in circulation. Millions of dimes from 1984 were minted, and while the vast majority are ordinary, unremarkable coins worth exactly 10 cents, the rare few with errors or unusual features are waiting to be discovered. Stories circulate of people finding valuable error dimes in their change, tucked away in a drawer, or even inside old coin rolls from banks. The excitement of knowing that a $130,000 coin could still be hiding in plain sight fuels the passion of collectors and treasure hunters alike. The condition of the coin also plays a massive role in determining value. A 1984 dime in circulated condition might only fetch a few dollars, even with a minor error. But a coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, in mint state with brilliant luster and minimal marks, can elevate its worth dramatically. The difference between a coin worth a few $100s and one worth $130,000 often comes down to condition, rarity of the error, and collector demand. That's why some 1984 dimes have stunned the market, catching even seasoned experts by surprise as bidding wars push prices to record-breaking levels. Beyond the technical aspects, the 1984 dime also represents a moment in American history. The early 1980s were a time of economic change, cultural shifts, and technological advancement. Coins minted during this era carry with them a sense of nostalgia, a reminder of an America on the cusp of modernization. For collectors, the 1984 dime is not just a piece of metal but a small artifact of that era. And when it comes with a rare error, it becomes a bridge between history, chance, and artistry. One famous auction featured a 1984 dime with a dramatic wrong planchet strike, where the coin was minted on a blank intended for a foreign denomination. The error was so distinct that it immediately drew attention from collectors around the world. What began as a routine auction quickly turned into a heated competition, with bids climbing rapidly. By the time the gavel struck, the coin had sold for an astonishing figure, well within that $50,000 to $130,000 range, making headlines in the numismatic community. Stories like these give hope to everyday people that extraordinary value can be found in the most ordinary-looking objects. Even more intriguing is the possibility of proof coins from 1984 carrying unusual errors. Proof coins are specially struck with mirrored finishes and intended for collectors, not circulation. While they are produced with extra care, mistakes occasionally happen. A 1984 proof dime with a striking error would be one of the rarest finds imaginable, blending the high-quality finish of a proof with the uniqueness of an error. Such a coin could fetch astronomical sums, perhaps even breaking into record territory for modern dimes. The real magic of the 1984 dime is that it reminds us of the hidden potential within everyday items. A coin that most people view as insignificant, a simple dime, can, under the right circumstances, become a life-changing discovery. It is this potential that excites collectors, fuels auctions, and keeps the search alive. Every 1984 dime you come across could, in theory, be one of those rare specimens, and the possibility makes even ordinary pocket change feel like a treasure chest. So when you're sorting through your coins or receiving change at the store, take an extra moment to look closely at any dime dated 1984. Check for signs of doubling on the letters and numbers. Look carefully to see if the design seems off-center. Pay attention to the weight and size to spot wrong planchet errors. Because while most of these coins are worth exactly 10 cents, a small handful are worth life-changing sums of money, ranging anywhere between $50,000 and $130,000. The 1984 dime proves that the world of coin collecting is not just about history or artistry, but also about chance and discovery. A dime minted in vast numbers can still stand apart, still inspire fascination, and still reward those who pay attention to the details. And that's what makes the search so worthwhile. The knowledge that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered by someone willing to look just a little closer. The 2003 one-dime coin is a fascinating example of how something so small and ordinary can hold extraordinary value in the world of coin collecting. Most people never give a second thought to the dimes they carry in their pockets, but within certain years and mintages, hidden treasures can be found, and the 2003 dime has become one of the coins that collectors keep a very close eye on. While the vast majority of these coins are only worth 10 cents, a select few rare examples in pristine condition or with remarkable minting errors have crossed auction blocks and shocked everyone by selling for staggering amounts, sometimes ranging from $43,000 to $110,000. That type of valuation is enough to change the way you look at the coins you come across every day. To understand why the 2003 dime carries this kind of potential, we first need to look at its place in U.S. coinage history. The dime as we know it has featured the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse since 1946, designed by John R. Sinek to honor Roosevelt's role in the creation of the March of Dimes and his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. By 2003, the design was already decades old, yet it remained a symbol of American resilience and progress. The reverse of the coin continues to show the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. The design itself did not change in 2003, But what makes that year so captivating to collectors are the rare varieties and conditions that have set certain coins apart from the billions minted. Billions of 2003 dimes were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and millions more were produced as proof coins at the San Francisco Mint. Most of these circulated without much notice, ending up in pockets, vending machines, and cash drawers. But in the world of numismatics, the smallest details can turn an everyday dime into a sought-after rarity. Errors, unusual variations, and flawless conditions are what drive collector interest. For the 2003 dime, examples exist with double dies, off-center strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. Each of these types of errors can make a coin unique, and uniqueness is always a driver of high prices at auction. Condition also plays a critical role. The grading system used by collectors, ranging from circulated grades all the way up to mint state 70, determines the value of a coin in a big way. A 2003 dime pulled from circulation, with scratches and wear, is worth its face value. But a coin that has been carefully preserved, showing no signs of handling, brilliant luster, and sharp details, can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. At the very top of the grading scale, where coins are nearly flawless, the 2003 dime has made headlines. These coins are so rare that when they appear at major auctions, bidding wars erupt. What started as a 10-cent piece can quickly climb into the tens of thousands of dollars, and in some jaw-dropping cases, the hammer has fallen at prices between $43,000 and $110,000. It is in these moments that collectors realize the thrill of coin hunting. A coin that most would pass over without thinking twice becomes the centerpiece of an elite collection. Stories circulate about lucky individuals who discovered their 2003 dime in a coin roll from the bank or hidden away in change that had been sitting untouched for years. One particularly exciting story tells of a collector who purchased a box of coin rolls just for the thrill of searching, only to uncover a rare 2003 error dime. After submitting it for grading and authentication, it ended up at auction, where fierce competition pushed the final price well beyond $50,000. That type of life-changing discovery keeps people searching, keeps collectors hopeful, and keeps the world of numismatics alive with energy. When we look at the coin itself, it's remarkable how such a small piece can carry such weight. Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse is one of the most recognizable images in U.S. coinage, and the design has endured for decades because of its significance. The reverse design, with the torch symbolizing liberty, the olive branch symbolizing peace, and the oak branch symbolizing strength, makes it more than just currency. It is a piece of national symbolism. Every time you hold a dime, you are holding a coin that embodies ideals that have guided the nation for generations. When a rare error or perfect example of the 2003 dime comes along, those ideals are joined with a very tangible reminder of how small details can create immense value. Another aspect that makes the 2003 dime so intriguing is the modern minting process. By the early 2000s, minting technology had become highly advanced, reducing the number of mistakes compared to earlier decades. This means that when an error does slip through, it is significantly rarer than errors from older coin series. That rarity adds to the demand. For example, a 2003 dime struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin or a cent would instantly stand out as a numismatic prize. Similarly, doubled dies, where the design elements appear to be doubled due to a mistake during die preparation, are especially sought after in modern coins because of how uncommon they are. Each type of error or anomaly adds character to the coin, transforming it from common currency into a collectible treasure. When these coins appear at auction, the atmosphere changes dramatically. Collectors know how rare they are, and anticipation builds. The auctioneer begins the bidding at a modest level, but within moments the bids start to rise. Collectors sitting in the audience and those participating online raise their bids higher and higher, unwilling to back down. As the numbers climb past $10,000, then $20,000 and beyond, the energy becomes electric. By the time the final gavel falls and the coin sells in the range of $43,000 to $110,000, the room is buzzing with excitement. Those watching realize that they have just witnessed history. A simple dime transformed into something far greater than its face value. For many collectors, this is exactly what makes coin collecting so addictive. The hunt, the chase, the possibility that the next coin you check could be something extraordinary. is what drives people to search through rolls, attend shows, and study their collections carefully. The 2003 dime serves as a reminder that treasures still exist in modern coinage, and that even coins minted in the last 2 decades can achieve legendary status. Another point worth mentioning is that the 2003 dime sits within a fascinating period of American coin history. By this time, the U.S. Mint was already engaged in the popular 50-state quarters program, which captured the attention of millions of Americans. While quarters were getting the spotlight, dimes quietly continued in their established design, overlooked by the general public. But for collectors, this was an opportunity. With so much focus on quarters, fewer people paid attention to dimes, meaning that rare varieties were more likely to go unnoticed. The few who did notice and preserved their coins in top condition are now reaping the rewards. It's also worth noting the emotional connection collectors feel toward Roosevelt's dime. For many, it's not just about the money, it's about the legacy. Roosevelt was a president who left a profound impact on the nation, and the dime was chosen to honor him for his efforts in fighting polio and supporting the March of Dimes. Owning a rare 2003 dime connects collectors not only to history, but also to a legacy of resilience and leadership. The story of the 2003 dime is one of potential and possibility. It shows us that coins are more than just tools for everyday transactions. They are historical artifacts, artistic creations, and sometimes, surprisingly, life-changing assets. While most people will never think twice about a dime, those who take the time to look closer might discover something extraordinary. Whether it's a flawless mint state example or a rare error, the 2003 dime has proven that it can command jaw-dropping sums at auction, with values climbing into the $43,000 to $110,000 range. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the message is clear: don't overlook the ordinary. Check your change, pay attention to details, and keep your eyes open. The next rare coin could be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The 2003 one-dime coin is proof that even the smallest pieces of metal in our currency can carry incredible stories, remarkable beauty, and astonishing value. It's a reminder that history, art, and opportunity often come together in the most unexpected ways, and that sometimes the smallest coin can deliver the biggest surprises. The 2014 one-dime coin is one of those pieces of U.S. currency that most people never give a second thought to. It's small, silver-colored, and often overlooked when compared to quarters or dollar coins, yet it carries with it a legacy stretching back decades. The dime, featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has been part of American life since 1946, created as a tribute to Roosevelt's leadership and his work with the March of Dimes campaign that helped combat polio. By 2014, the design was already familiar to generations of Americans, but what many don't realize is that certain examples of the 2014 dime are far from ordinary. Among the billions of dimes minted that year are coins so rare, so pristine, or so unusual that they have crossed the auction block for truly astonishing amounts of money. Some of these coins have been valued between $35,000 and $103,000, turning a 10-cent piece into a life-changing treasure. The 2014 dime was produced at several mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver mints struck the bulk of the dimes for circulation, while San Francisco struck proof coins specifically for collectors. Most of these dimes went directly into circulation, tossed into cash registers, vending machines, or piggy banks, and as such, the vast majority show the kind of wear and tear you'd expect. They're worth face value and nothing more. But in coin collecting, rarity often hides in the details, and the 2014 dime is a perfect example of how a common coin can become extraordinary. Condition is the first factor that drives value. A dime pulled straight from circulation will usually have tiny scratches, worn surfaces, or dull luster. But those very few examples that were carefully preserved or struck with exceptional quality stand out. Coins graded at the highest levels, like MS-68 or MS-69 by professional grading services, show razor-sharp details, brilliant luster, and virtually no imperfections. These dimes look nearly flawless even under magnification, and because so few exist, collectors compete fiercely to add them to their collections. It's these nearly perfect coins that can cross into astonishing territory, reaching values of tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, Some of the highest-graded 2014 dimes have drawn attention at auctions and private sales, with prices landing between $35,000 and $103,000. Beyond condition, era coins from 2014 are where things get especially interesting. Minting is a highly precise process, but mistakes can and do happen. When they do, the results can turn an ordinary dime into a rare collector's item. Off-center strikes, where the design is shifted dramatically, are a prime example. A dime struck 40 or 50% off-center becomes a dramatic, eye-catching error that collectors love. Double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled, are another prized find. Imagine seeing Roosevelt's profile or the words, "In God We Trust," appear with a shadow-like doubling effect. It's immediately recognizable and highly sought after. Then there are wrong planchet errors, where a dime design ends up struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a cent or nickel. These types of errors are incredibly rare and instantly push the coin's value into the thousands. When one of these 2014 dimes with such dramatic errors shows up at auction, bidders don't hold back, driving prices into that incredible $35,000 to $103,000 range. The San Francisco Mint's proof dimes add another dimension to the story. Proof coins are specially made using polished dies and planchets, giving them a mirror-like finish and sharp details. They're sold directly to collectors, often in annual proof sets, and many are preserved in excellent condition. The most coveted are deep cameo proofs, where Roosevelt's portrait has a frosted look that contrasts beautifully against the reflective background. While proof coins are more common than some error varieties, finding one in absolutely perfect condition, graded PR70, can still be a challenge. Collectors building registry sets, where they try to own the highest graded example of every coin, will pay top dollar for such pieces. That demand ensures that flawless 2014 proof dimes remain highly desirable and can command impressive premiums on the market. To appreciate the significance of the 2014 dime, it helps to understand the larger history of the Roosevelt dime series. Introduced just after World War II, it honored a president beloved for his leadership during one of the nation's most challenging times. The design, with Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength. Over the decades, billions of these dimes have been produced, and while most are common, the rarest examples from any year tend to shine brightest in collectors' eyes. The 2014 dime may seem modern, but it already holds a place in that long tradition of collectible rarities. Auction results tell the real story of how valuable these coins can be. Imagine the scene at a major numismatic auction. Bidders sitting in the room, others calling in from around the country, the energy rising as a 2014 dime in an elite grade or with a dramatic error is announced. The opening bid starts modestly, perhaps a few $100s, but quickly escalates as collectors recognize the rarity before them. Hands go up, phone bids climb higher, and the competition intensifies until the final hammer falls. The winning bid, sometimes $35,000, sometimes pushing all the way to $103,000, cements the coin's status as a true modern rarity. These moments remind the collecting world that even coins minted just a decade ago can hold extraordinary value when the right combination of rarity and condition comes together. The beauty of stories like these is that treasures are still out there waiting to be found. It's not unheard of for someone searching through pocket change or coin rolls from the bank to stumble upon an error dime that turns out to be worth a fortune. Even modern dimes can hide mistakes that slipped past the mint's quality control, and those who take the time to look carefully have a chance of discovering them. The thrill of coin roll hunting comes from this very possibility. The chance that a dime picked up for face value might actually be worth tens of thousands. Collectors also know that coins like the 2014 dime are part of a larger strategy. Building sets of Roosevelt dimes, especially with top-grade examples, is a pursuit that requires patience and dedication. For those who take it seriously, owning a rare 2014 dime isn't just about money. It's about completing a collection, about holding history in your hand, and about the pride of knowing you own something few others will ever possess in today's collecting world. Modern coins like the 2014 dime continue to prove that rarity isn't always confined to centuries-old pieces. The fascination with this coin lies in its ability to be both ordinary and extraordinary at once. On one hand, It's a simple dime worth 10 cents in everyday transactions. On the other, it has the potential to be a hidden treasure valued as high as $103,000. That dual identity captures the very heart of numismatics, where discovery and history collide in the most unexpected places. So the next time you're handed a dime as change, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look. Inspect the details, the condition, and the strike. Because among the billions of dimes minted in 2014, there are a few that break the mold, coins so rare and special that they're worth far more than their face value. Some of them are worth enough to transform your perspective on what a dime can really be. After all, a coin minted for everyday use has already proven itself capable of fetching between $35,000 and $103,000. And that possibility is what keeps collectors searching, hunting, and dreaming of the next great discovery.